Good afternoon. Maestro Amjad is synonymous with Indian classical music and, of course, the mystical instrument that he plays, the Sarod. He started playing the Sarod at an early age of 6, and the rest, as they say, is history. And he's an amazing, award-winning performer whose appeal and collaborations have transcended borders, transcended genres. And we also have the pleasure of having his two sons, Amaan Ali Bangash and Ayaan Ali Bangash, with us today. These are also amazing musicians in their own right, and they're going to be performing for us as well. They have collaborated together on several projects in addition to growing really successful solo careers. And it's quite an honor for all of us, for me, to have them be with us in this amazing new event center. So I'd like all of you to stand up and give Maestro Amjad Ali Khan, Ayaan Ali Bangash, and Amaan Ali Bangash a big applause.
Good afternoon. Namaskar. We'll present some folk music from Bengal, where we will also present a song by the iconic poet and composer, the great Rabindranath Tagore, followed by a composition in Raga, Durga. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, with utmost humility in today's language, I'd like to call on stage hashtag icon, hashtag father, hashtag maestro. Please welcome Ustad Amjad Ali Khan Sahab. Thank you.
While playing the sarod, I'm not pressing the string with my fingertips. Violin is played with fingertip, cello, sitar. But if I play sarod with fingertip, it will sound like this. So this is the sound of fingertip, but to bring out the human expressions, the vocal expressions, I have to press the string with the edge of my fingernails. You can see the difference. Most of the songs, they are based on language, text, lyrics. But in 13th century, Hazrat Amir Khusro, a Sufi saint who created Qawwali called Kalbana, created a style of singing called Tarana. So Tarana doesn't deal with language or lyrics or text. So he created a language of music, language of syllables, and sound. Tananom, tadaredani, dridridani. Just two composition I would like to sing, 9.5 beat. Tanana dridridim, tanadim, tana, tadaredani, tanana dridridim, tanadim, tana, tadaredani, tanana dridridim, tanadim, tana, tananum, tananum, Tana dere na, ta dere na, takite da, takite da, takite da, tereke da, gadigina da, tereke da, tereke da, tereke da, tana na, dere dere dim, tana dim, tana, ta dare dani, tana na, dere dim, ta dare dani, dere dani, tana dere na, dere na, dere na. Tana tanum, tana tanum, tana tanum, takite da, takite da, takite da, tereke da, gadigina da, tereke da, tereke da, tereke da, tana na, dire dire dim, tana dim, tana. The other kind of tarana, tadare dani, tadani dim, tana tano, tanum, tananum, tadirena, 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 tadare dani, tadani dim, tana tano, tananana dim, tananana, tananana dim, tananana. Tananum, tananum, tarana, tananum, tadare dani, da kitakadum, kitakadita, kitakadikadikadikadikina, da kanda, kanda, tadare dani, tadani dim, tanatanum.
Khan Sahib, you come from a long line of musicians and classical performers.
Yes.
In fact, I've heard that the instrument Sarod itself came from your forefathers. Can you tell us a little bit about the instrument?
Yes, Sarod. Actually, Sarod is a Persian word which means music, Nagma Taranu. And my forefathers, they came from Afghanistan, settled in India. And my forefathers, they were rabab players. Rabab is an Afghani instrument in Kashmir, also in Central Asia. So they modified from rabab to sarod. And there are nearly 500 sarod players now all over the world. And they are all connected. I mean, whoever is playing sarod, they were taught by my forefathers. Murad Ali Khan Sahab, Asghar Ali Khan Sahab, Nanne Khan Sahab, and Ustad Hafiz Ali Khan Sahab. There are so many names. So they are the 7th generation, Amaan and Ayaan, of our family.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You played solo for us. It was such an amazing treat. You also performed with your sons. How do the different experiences compare?
You see, by the grace of God, they have their own mission, their own vision of music. Amaan's approach of music is different. Ayaan's approach is different. And sometimes they play duet, sometimes we play 3 of us together.
We like to say we accompany him.
And also they are invited now for solo recitals, because to be alone on the stage is most challenging and most satisfying creative-wise. So thank God, music is our life, music is our way of expression, and we live in the world of sound.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I have a question for you, Amaan.
Ji.
You perform all around the world, often to people that haven't really heard the Sarod before for the first time. How do you connect with your audiences?
Well, I think the first thing is to have a very positive attitude, never to believe. I would always want to be a student. If I have bad days, I have good days. But the audience for me is a mirror of my being, in terms of there's no point getting an award and getting an empty house. Rather not get an award and have a full house. So for me, I see God through the audience, because that is the biggest award a musician can get. And to play to a new audience is always more challenging, but it's also more fun, because you can do certain things that you cannot do when the quote-unquote real connoisseurs are there, So it's a nice feeling, and you're all the time constantly learning. And I don't take myself very seriously.
That's wonderful. I have 2 sons. They're teenagers now, and at least my memory of them growing up is doing various things with them, whether it's puzzles or now they're 16 and 18. So we actually do programming projects together. I'm a software engineer. Ayaan, you have young sons. Do you play with them? Do you see them becoming musicians?
Well, they are...
How old are they?
They're 5.5. They're twins, and Zohan and Abir. So, well, they seem to be interested. Right now it's just a lot of noise, because they have 2 little sarods, and there's a lot of strumming that happens. But then they're very fortunate. I've handed them over at the moment to the grandfather. I said the moment they get somewhere, then I think I'll get in. But then they're very fortunate, because I think they also have this atmosphere of music around them. And music actually is the greatest wealth that we have in our family. So I think for us, it's a way of life, not a profession. It's a passion. So I think it's not something outside the box that's happening. But again, no pressure. They are free to do what they want to do. But it's a long journey for any, not just a classical musician, but anyone creative. I think you need to have the passion, the patience, the faith, the belief. And eventually, destiny has its own plans sometimes, But anyway, they're very fortunate that, they have the grandfather, there's the uncle, there's the father. So there's a lot of music around them. So they're enjoying the attention, but let's see what happens. And they need your blessings, all your blessings.
Oh, they'll do very well. And when did the 2 of you decide you wanted to be musicians? Do you remember a particular point in time when you said, this is our calling?
Well, I was the mischievous one. I was not into music till a certain age, though I was introduced to the Sarod and, you know. By the time I was about 12, 13, I had, I think, a very bad show where I saw my father actually embarrassed of me. It was a show in London. And that's when I think my world changed. I realized that where God has sent me and what I have to do. But then it became...
I had fever on that night.
Yes. So you know the pressure.
It was as simple as that.
So when, you know, especially when you're born to people like my father, so people do believe, and it's fair enough for everyone to believe that the ride is much easier. But as they say, there's no free lunches. There are none. Being born to people like him, what happens is that though you get a lot of advantages, you know, you get a lot of appreciation and attention from people. I would have taken another 20 years, I think, if I was not his son, to reach wherever little or whatever I've achieved or I'm on my way. But the pressures are very high, you know.
Expectations.
Yeah, so I think coming back to the question, sorry. So when I saw that about my father, I think took life seriously, and I valued education in Sarod, and I knew that Sarod is the best bet I have because studies I was very bad at it.
How about you, Ayaan?
Well, I don't think I had any defining moment, so to speak. I mean, in the sense, I always knew that this is what I want to do, this is what my heart wanted to do. But obviously, there was that time when, you know, I was just about to finish high school, and all my friends were, you know, doing their Dartmouths and their Whartons and Stanfords, all that was happening, their SATs. So at that moment, that was just maybe a temporary moment. I just questioned myself, am I heading towards the right direction? Because at the end of the day, you don't know. You only know that you don't know, you know. So I actually, obviously, internally thought about it. I spoke to my parents, who've always been one of the most influential people in my life. So they said that, you know, like I said earlier, my father said I shared with both of you what was the greatest thing I had. And beyond this, he says that I wouldn't have taught you if I didn't see you responding to music in the right way. I mean, I was no Mozart, but having said that, I mean, you know, you have to, it's a long journey. But the thing is, he said you're on the right track, and I think you should be okay, or you will be okay. So faith in the Guru, faith in God, and you know, it's hard work, and it's just a long way. We're starting a new journey every day, you know.
I remember once they were about 12 years old.
Yeah.
They came to me and asked me that out of them, who should not play Sarod?
Oh, did we?
So I said, I'm just a guru, I'm not an antaryami, I'm not a god. If you have connection with sound and rhythm, that means it's a wish of God that you both should play Sarod or you should be in the music. So you can't promote music, you can't, I mean, it's not a commodity. So it grows on you. And thank God we belong to the world of sound, because through sound, we cannot manipulate our life. And the other world is language. With all due respect to language, I often feel that language could not create compassion and kindness in a human being. Even today, we are killing each other on account of religion. It's very sad. And my father, he was not teaching me only music, but a complete way of life. And he often said, all of us have a common God, and we are the common race. Because I wish this message should have been conveyed by all the priests of all the religion. But every priest has their own agenda. They are also getting monthly salaries. But so it is up to us. We have to realize how we come to the world and how we go away from this world. It's the same passage. So we are the same race.
Right. That's a wonderful message.
And just on another note, we are not twins. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Just want to settle that.
Names are very twinish.
Yeah.
But
And after I had twins, people just think that we are.
yeah, we are twins.
That's funny.
And also, I wanted to share that a lot of people compare Indian music with jazz music. Yes, jazz musicians also improvise, but they have the complete freedom to use all the 12 notes whenever they want. But we don't have that kind of freedom. we have to improvise within the set rule of ascending and descending. But improvisation is not such a great thing. Even child can improvise. Our salient features of our Indian classical music is slides and glides. In Hindi, we call it mead. It's a precious gift of God to our music. So ornamentation and the slides and glides. So now music has become therapy also. A lot of diseases can be cured by music, and plants grow faster with music. Even cattle give more milk by listening to certain kind of music.
That's wonderful. You're an inspiration to all of us with your virtuosity. How much do you still practice? What is your riyaz routine like every day now?
You see, earlier I was giving more time, sometime all night, and my father was very, very old because I was the youngest child of their family. So I had all the elder brothers and uncles. But the sense of responsibility, for any child to realize the responsibility is the greatest day for the parents. So my father, sometime middle of the night, he saw me practicing. He will come and tell me, "Beta, now go to sleep." So that was the father. But he was a hard taskmaster while teaching. And he was very famous, he was very revered, and he got all the awards and all that. But a saintly person, committed to God and committed to purity of music.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I think we have 2 questions recorded on video. Can we roll them?
Hi, I'm Akash, a Googler here in the Mountain View office on the finance team. I'm a longtime fan of yours, and I'm glad you can make it here today. My question for you is that in the decades of you playing the Sarod, would you say that your music has evolved over the years to adapt to the various audiences you perform to, given the increase in globalization and fusion music? Thank you.
Let's all reply one by one, this question. You start, Ayaan.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's addressed to you, but I mean...
Let's have our views.
Well, I mean, of course, I think, I can speak for my father here because the question was addressed to him as a student, not just as a son. I think he is one of those, masters in the field who have been extremely progressive with the way he has gone about his musical approach. I mean, if you hear my father in the 60s or in the 70s, 80s, 90s now, I think there you can see a journey and you can see a different thought process over the period of time. And today, I think my father's vision, I think he's playing shorter pieces now. He's focusing more on compositions. He's focusing more on certain elements of music. I mean, of course, it's him. It's the same artist. But I think it's just, today it's him, him with that entire journey, which he's just kind of sharing with the world. And I think it's just very interesting to see that. And I think, yes, seeing even the current situation, I don't think he's made any kind of compromises to the traditional aspect of music, because I don't think any book said how to present classical music. I think he's done things a little bit outside the box, and I think it's working very well with music lovers, as always. And this was not my question, so my father should answer.
You should answer. He's covered.
You see, because now the whole world has become so intolerant and impatient, and everything should happen quickly. People become musicians to just perform or to create a CD or to go to a reality show. And most of the musicians today, you see, they are all standing and performing in such a rush, such a hurry. Our tradition is that we have to sit and play and sing. And my father often said that we must see good points in every system of music, whether it is folk music, European music, any music. And in our country, we have so many states and regions. And through a line of melody, a region can be introduced, a folk music. The folk music of Rajasthan, da da ra da ra da re, da da ra da da da, ah, da da ra da ra da 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 di da da re, ye re, maro da ra da. So this is folk music, most ancient, because classical was created, it is formalized. It wasn't there in, So folk music, folk dance is the most original form of music of any country. And then one day I received a message from Scottish Chamber Orchestra. They wanted me to write a piece for their orchestra. And as we always say, we don't read and write. So I sang in a CD all my vision and expressions for the orchestra. Then I found one conductor, British conductor. He knew my mind, so he wrote everything. So now we have a written score, and the piece is called Samagam. Samagam means confluence of culture. So many orchestras of the world, they are playing my piece. This is the first Sarod concerto in the world that three of us play with 60, 70 musicians around. And I hope one day we could perform that orchestra Samagam for you also.
That's amazing. That sounds like an amazing treat. I think we have one more video question from Jocelyn. Let's roll that.
Hello, I'm Jocelyn from Google Mountain View. My team focuses on building products for the emerging Indian market. We're so very honored to have you with us here today, so thank you. My question is this. We here at Google are very proud of Google Play. Has the digital music industry changed the way you approach your craft? And how do you engage with the millennial audience? Thank you.
Would you like to talk something?
Well, I think it's more approachable today, thanks to things going digital. Yeah. Earlier, I remember when you were growing up, we're still growing actually, but when you were growing up, when you were much younger, we would, barter with other musicians, like on a friendly, give me that cassette, I'll give you that cassette, that recording, or that LP, or that, or we would, hide and record sometimes with that small tape recorder, because that was the access we would have to a musician's vision of music. Today, it's so much easier for people. Technically, I think some musicians don't even have a guru now. The laptop is the guru in a good way, You press, I want to learn Rag Kedara. You press that button, and you have 50,000 recordings coming out.
Of Kedara.
Of Kedara, of different musicians. So it's a good thing at some level. It's a good thing. And I think for musicians, it's become a bit tough. Not for people like him, but for people like us, that when we have a repertoire of ragas, let's say I know 25 ragas or 30 ragas. Now someone is, recording it. So if today I've played here at Google, and let's say tomorrow I'm playing, for example, at San Jose, and I cannot repeat the same rag or the same kurta, because somebody will record there. And they know, this guy doesn't have a repertoire. He's played Desh today, Rag Desh, and he's again playing Rag Desh tomorrow. So it's making us, everyone is on the edge, and everyone's actually bringing their game up, because there's more transparency, and it's a good thing. I think the world's changing.
But I think you should not feel that way. You must know what is your best. You can play 100 times Rag Kedara. It will be different.
No, but I have other rags that I can play. So.
It's more difficult for stand-up comedians. They can't repeat the jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
A digital thing actually is a great gift also to all of us. And I'm proud of human beings who have created mobile phone and iFax and all those keyboard. Keyboard is such an amazing instrument that keyboard can produce sound of flute, sound of drum, and sitar, and so many violin
Not Sarod
and cello.
yet, thank God.
And not Sarod yet. I'm sure one day we can hear Sarod also through keyboard. But our music, classical music, has been documented because of digitalization. So, because we cannot perform identical next concert the way we play. Whatever we have played today, Again, if we play the same pieces, the expression would be different. So if we are recorded, so you can listen to it 1,000 times. And I feel that some musicians boast about they know 1,000 raga or 2,000 raga. But the great maestros, they became famous because of 3 minutes record, that 78 RPM.
Right.
That 3 minutes, the music is the name of quality. It doesn't matter how many ragas you know. But even if you know 4 ragas which are appealing, which are soothing and give you pleasure. So music should be appealing, and that is most important.
Do we have any audience questions? I have an endless list to ask.
Feel free to ask whatever you want to.
Pranam Guruji, Varnali.
Just take the mic down a little.
Welcome again to Google. So my question was, obviously music was in the family. You were introduced very early on. And Sarod was obvious choice probably, but do you play other instruments for fun or just sort of pick things up?
It's for
What do
him.
you play?
You should.
For you too, and of course Guruji.
You start from Ayaan.
Well, I can strum the guitar. I can just literally play around with the guitar because I play the Sarod. I mean, and when you have the frets, it's easier. I can play around with the sitar. Maybe it's those fun moments. It's not something I'm proud of. But obviously, just to make some, I mean, we've had, I can play some compositions. We've heard so much music of all my father's contemporaries, so, we know how they would hold the instrument, how, these were our heroes, along with my father, all his contemporaries, yes.
From his childhood, he was interested in painting.
Oh, well, that too.
So, always the images of Lord Ganesha, and even his parents, he drew, so that is his passion also, and he's involved in painting also. Yes, what about you?
No, so you were saying...
No, so that's pretty much it, yes.
So I think Sarod was an obvious choice, Sarod was an obvious choice because there's so much around it. It's like when you're in the middle of the ocean, you have to swim. There's no other option. But I enjoy playing the tabla a little bit.
He plays very well, actually.
But just like gimmicky tabla, what you call it.
Post-sound check,
I'm okay with a bit of piano and composing some sort of songs and all, and a bit of santoor, So it's there, but it's not something that I can do it in front of all of you. But it's like a bathroom singer,
Private moments.
But Sarod was an obvious choice.
And I was so much involved with tabla. I used to play tabla as a child. And so much tabla that my father got worried. He thought he might become only tabla player, not Sarod player. So he hid the tabla for a long time.
This tabla set.
And so, but I'm so much involved. I enjoy playing tabla in my free time. And I compose also, songs, ghazals, and music for the ballet, music for the orchestra. And it's very interesting how the industry work, even in Bombay, film world, Bollywood world, that first there is a tune, the tune is sent to the lyricist, and then he writes the words. Like I composed one song, da-ra, da-da-ra, da-ra, da-da-ra, da-ra, da-da-ra, da-ra, da-da-ra, da-ra, da-da-ra, da-ra, da-ra, da-ra. So this is the mukhra, the first piece, and the lyricist wrote.
I don't remember the words, yeah.
Anyway, so this is the, we always forget the language, the words, the lyricist, because our life is full of sound and music. And in our traditional families, we were not allowed to plan our future. It's an unwise thing to do, but that is the commitment the Guru demands, that one has to surrender to Gurus, one has to surrender to God, and rest, leave it to God. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So that was our way of life of Indian classical musicians. It's almost like entering into a dark tunnel with the hope of sun ray someday. So very few can make it, and there are thousands of musicians in that journey. And but my father, we depend on God, and so whatever has happened with the love and blessings of the people of India, people of the world, people who love music, and I'm grateful to God that Amaan, Ayaan, they are so committed and dedicated. And they are very fortunate to have a mother like Subbalakshmi. My wife, she was a very famous Bharatanatyam dancer. And because we both are unemployed parents, so we gave a lot of time to them.
Basically, the answer to your question is we didn't have a choice. But this is enough. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Long back in an interview, I'd seen that while training Amaan and Ayaan, when you were traveling, probably you would hum a tune and they would map the sargam to it.
Yes.
Can you still do that? And if possible, can we have a demo of that?
You're putting us through a test again.
Because I was in awe when I saw that moment. So yeah, I don't mind being awestruck again.
You see, every guru has a different way of teaching. But I feel that more than the language or lyrics and text, if you are a musician, you must be connected with the sound first. Like, Ayaan, da 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 da, ga re ga ma pa ga ma ga, da 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 da, sa ni pa da ma pa ga ma re ga, da 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 da,
Da pa da ma pa ga ma re ga,
da 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 da, sa ni sa
re ga,
da 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 da,
pa ma ga re ga ma pa,
da 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 da.
sa ni
Da 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 da.
ni da ni pa da.
Da 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 da.
Why did you ask this question? We need to do some questions with you now.
Thank you so much.
It's like musical quiz. So
We haven't done this in a while.
As children, they used to do that. Now we communicate through instruments only.
Hey, earlier you mentioned that your guru would ask you to surrender to the music. Those were the kind of gurus that day. But I think nowadays it's hard to find those kind of gurus. It's mostly like for earning. Any tips on that? Like how to get a good guru and get into the music? And yeah, any tips on that?
There are lots of gurus all over India, all over the world. If the point is, in our country, a learned man was considered an institution. And now a huge cemented building is called institution. So that is the basic difference. The institution, that knowledgeable men, and they used to be very demanding, and some gurus were very sincere to their disciples, and some gurus were not very sincere. We have a history of Dronacharya,
And Ekalavya.
Katu Shamji, all that.
So we have that kind of history. That sometimes guru is not very, partial or impartial. So some students become more favorite. Some students, they don't want to teach them. So, but it's very, very, very important to have a right kind of guidance and gurus.
But no, he was asking, if I may, how to find that guru.
I mean, you can of course Google it. That's one thing. But no, seriously, I think
Nowadays people are teaching through Skype.
online. I think it depends as to where you want to go. See, if you're learning for the love of music, that's one thing. If you're learning because it's a passion, it's one thing. If you're learning because you want to make a profession out of this, then that's another way of. Then you have to learn the way it was learned. You have to go to a teacher. You have to, be a part of that teacher's life, and be around your teacher and learn. But obviously online classes are happening now. It's also convenience. A lot of people have passion, but they are unable to take that time out. So, there's so many kinds of gurus available now. But it depends which, I think, direction you want to head towards.
Very few students are learning music to understand music and to understand the depth of the music. Because most of the learners, the students, young performers, they all want to perform on the stage. So this impatientness to be on the stage, that's the greatest destruction it's a tragedy of music.
Well, we could do this for a very long time, but our time is up. It's not often that one has the privilege to be right next to a living legend of India. Kansab, Aman, Ayaan, thank you all.
Thank you
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you so much.